Welcome to the very first episode of the Lads Film Thing podcast, where four friends discuss a film and generally have a good time. Be warned, there will be spoilers. So, you've got Lucy.
Hello.
Me, Abby. Dan.
Hey.
And Sam.
Hello.
So, Lucy, this week was your film choice.
It was. I have the honour of choosing the first movie, which is Oldboy, the original South Korean neo-noir action thriller film directed and co-written by Park Chan-wook. So the movie starts with Dae-Su, who we see him at the beginning in a police station. We don't know what he's done. We don't know anything about his history, but he's clearly been arrested for something, and he is fussing about how to get out and what's going to happen to him, and he's just basically waiting around. Any thoughts on that scene?
No.
Okay.
It's a good one because you have no idea what's happening in the film, and it's just this guy being a bit of an idiot, winging in the police station. He's not overly likable at the start, and you just think, I don't know what's happening here. It's just this guy with these angel wings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've forgotten about
for his
that.
daughter's birthday.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'd totally forgotten that.
Oh yeah.
And he had those weird kind of almost like multiple personalities that he was showing of being like really obnoxious, really upset, really friendly.
And that's just
And
drunk.
that's
Yeah.
Possibly. Look forward to seeing all of those in this podcast. But then that's also reflected like later on in the story, isn't it? How quickly he can just turn and be like a different person if he feels that that is what is needed of him, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So he ends up leaving the police station with a friend, and then we find out at this point that he does have a daughter, and he rings her and basically apologizes for not being able to get to her birthday, and her mum's really cross at him, and he basically just looks like a bit of a douche.
It feels like not the first time he's had to make a call, something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And the friend, again, was kind of like, I'm having to do this for you again.
Yeah, true. And then it's at this point, the friend turns around and Dae-Su's gone. So at first we don't really know what's happened, but obviously he's been kidnapped, and he wakes up in, do we know it's a cell to begin with, like a prison? Or is it more like a...
I thought it looked like a hotel room.
Yeah, mine
like
first
a...
thought it was
Dated
a
hotel,
hotel.
isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but
This
we're
is how we had to live in 2003.
Yeah, we very quickly find out that it is, like, he can't get out, and he's essentially a prisoner in this room. And there's that weird scene where he sticks his head through the little hole at the bottom, and he's like, why am I in here? Get me out. And the guy's just trying to shove some food in and like push his head back in with his foot.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
really strange.
My first thoughts, which I think I probably texted you, were just, I'm really confused and scared. And nothing has happened. He's just in a room, but I don't understand anything that's going on. It was very, just immediately felt super tense.
Yeah, because before you know anything about what happened, this is just something that could happen to anyone. And then you have to wait for the plot to be like, this was targeted. But for then he was like, he was walking through the street, he's now in a prison cell. Like, I don't like this.
And the rooms, yeah, you were saying, Sam, weren't you? The room was super, it was nice in a way.
It's quite nice.
Yeah.
For a cell to be kept in for, 15 years?
Yeah.
It was quite nice. Like,
For someone who's been kidnapped and like paid to be kidnapped.
yeah, as a punishment, yeah.
Yeah, it's not a bad room, really. I've stayed in worse hotel rooms.
Exactly, yeah, like Airbnb scores can be alright. Right?
So his time in the cell is, I mean, terrible because he can't get out, and he's obviously stressing about what's happening.
And he's gassed every now and then to get a free haircut. So he gets his free haircut. And I think it's fair to say that most people in the world do not enjoy the social interaction of a haircut. So as a side gig, maybe this is something we need to consider.
I think that is a fair business venture if the whole podcast thing doesn't go very well, or our normal jobs and lives.
Yeah.
Gas people, cut their hair while they're under.
Yeah.
They're chuffed.
Wake them up, send them on their way.
Yeah.
Assume what haircut they were going to ask for.
Yeah.
Okay, so he is essentially taken care of while he's in there because he does try to commit suicide while he's there, but he's patched up and...
He gets to work out, he gets to train.
Yeah, he decides to start training against the wall. So he literally just punching the wall.
Which apparently seems to be the most effective way to train.
Yeah.
If this film teaches us anything.
A few films actually, like
Yeah.
punch a wall, you'll be really strong.
Yeah, you'll be buff
Yeah.
immediately.
I think you'd normally break your hand, but apparently. You push through and then
Just push through.
there you go.
Yeah, if you can live with the blood on your knuckles, you soon become an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he finds out from the TV that his wife has been murdered, and that it says that the wife's husband, i.e. Dae-Su, is the prime suspect because his, what was it? His DNA
They took
was
like a
found.
cup with his DNA,
Yeah.
didn't they? It was a really subtle scene, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. But obviously that was a setup because I think, if I remember right, you see them take the glass from his room,
You do,
and then
yeah.
that is, then placed in. So he's obviously been set up for his wife's murder. But I think that happens relatively soon in the 15 years he ends up being in there. So,
As well as the daughter later on, but the wife is just this unseen victim of this whole film, isn't she?
yeah, true.
I guess she was just, and we're going forward a bit now, but she must have been killed because she would obviously recognise the two of them and would just spoil the whole point of the film.
So Odyssey is trying to dig his way out, and he does. I mean, he does almost get out,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah.
Which almost like, okay,
He Shawshank.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then he's just let out anyway, which I think throws a whole load of confusion into the picture, because he then just finds himself on the roof of the building with the other guy, who's with that little dog.
It really is a film where you don't know any more than the main character. Normally you see other scenes, you kind of get a glimpse of what else is going on in the world,
true.
but you're literally following only Dae-Su's like exposure to it, aren't you?
Yeah.
That is a really good point, because again, you kind of, I think in the trailer, one of the words was like a visceral experience or something. But that really, his utter confusion at everything that's happening is internalized in you 100%, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But there is, throughout, well, definitely for the first part, there is a whole load of confusion in there, for me at least. And even now, I can't figure out what that guy was doing on the top of the building, the other guy.
Yeah.
And what he was saying, and all the stuff about, I might be a beast, but I still deserve to live. Where did he get that dog?
And why did he have to commit suicide holding the dog? Like, that's so sad. Just let the dog live.
But also the sunglasses. Why did he wear those sunglasses from the woman in the lift? He gets them from the... So she's really scared of him. From this one?
And he has a fun time in the lift, doesn't he?
So is that a bit of like a treasure? What's the word? Trophy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, could be.
Because he's pretty fucked by that point, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you would be, wouldn't you, after all that time?
You would be, yeah.
So once he's out, then someone, we don't really know who, gives him a mobile phone and some cash and says some stuff to him.
Yeah.
Is this right?
You're not going to get any more answers from me.
Yeah. And it's that makes him go off to the sushi bar, and that's where he finds Mido, who is like the chef behind the...
Oh, but before that, he sees those thugs, doesn't he? And he's like, is the skills I've learned like enough to be
that's right,
like, amazing at fighting?
And obviously,
for the sake of the plot, it is. And like they clearly add that line in to make you kind of pass over it and just be like, okay, we'll go with this.
Yeah.
But training in a apartment room with nobody else to like spar with or like apparently is the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't help but notice that one of the thugs throws a punch and it's just totally off the mark. He just, like, Odyssey doesn't dodge it. He's just stood there and the thug just like punches the side of his head. It's like, oh no. It's very set up that way.
Yeah.
I like how in these fight scenes everybody queues up to fight the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what are all the people doing that you can't see? They're just there, like, on their phone. Like, if they all joined in.
Come up yet.
Yeah.
Then Dae-Su's like, number 9,
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, and also he doesn't really have that look about him as like being an expert fighter. He, and like you see a montage of someone that becomes an expert in martial arts and they look by the end of it.
Kung Fu Panda.
Sure.
Hold on, have you seen this film?
No, I'm sorry, I have not.
Kung Fu Panda?
Why have
Never
you not
seen
seen
it?
Kung Fu Panda?
It's a children's film.
Yeah, it's an excellent
Also, you have
film.
children.
Have they seen it? I have not seen it. Have you seen
Right.
it?
No, I've seen
No.
like a bit of the second one,
Seen
maybe.
it.
Just to let you all
I
know,
know I know it's about a panda that does kung fu.
we will be rectifying this as part of this podcast.
Yeah.
It's probably just not free to stream at the moment.
It's definitely free.
But anyway,
I'll watch it again as prep.
okay.
must have seen that film like 10 times.
Yeah. Also, our daughter will not watch it.
Oh,
So,
Oh, no.
I don't
So how have you
to watch
seen it
that
10
on my own.
It's a good
It's
film.
a great film.
I do like Jack Black.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karen. That was really important, though.
So in the sushi bar, Mido we're introduced to Mido, who gives him his dinner, and then he eats that weird octopus situation.
Oh god, that bit.
My God, the tentacles just wriggling around on his face as he's swallowing it.
That's a real thing, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're supposed to wrap it around a chopstick, are you not? So that doesn't happen tentacle-wise.
Well, even though
that-
it's that big, though.
Yeah, and you're supposed to put it down and then swallow it straight away. Because if you swallow it in a different way, the tentacles, it tries to crawl out, and then it chokes you and you die.
And now we
allegedly.
definitely need to Google how many people have died of that.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're eating it so quick, you can't taste it, surely, because it's
No,
just going straight
exactly.
down.
What's it going to
True.
taste
So,
like?
and it's not for fun,
Salt
like-
water?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know if any of this... I think I heard that from The Simpsons.
When they're cutting up a blowfish as well.
Yeah.
I think it's that same episode.
That's another thing, though. Like, it's another thing that confuses you and aims to throw you off, because it's not necessary.
And if you've been in a room for 15 years, he probably has had quite a standard diet.
Well, they showed, didn't they, all the dumplings, fried dumplings, literally like every day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because then he was going round, I don't know if it's before or after I think,
Oh, yeah.
but to try and find something else that wasn't dumplings.
Yeah, and he said something like, I'll be happy if I never see another dumpling again, or
yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
I reckon he should just go to Bella Italia. Like, he keeps going to dumpling restaurants and
Yeah.
trying to find not dumplings.
Yeah.
And like they're somewhere between dumplings and octopus.
Oh, yeah,
It's
live.
Yeah,
if
exactly.
yeah.
In that very
Just a
restaurant.
sandwich, like anything.
A live octopus, yeah. But apparently the actor was vegetarian.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, and like very religious as well. And so
Oh.
and they had to do the scene like 3, 4, 5 times, something like that.
Oh, no.
And he would give like a prayer and apologize to the octopus each time they filmed it.
So that bit was
Oh.
actually done, though. That was no
Yeah.
sort of...
There wasn't CGI or anything. No, he
Yeah,
actually
it
just
did look very,
he
very
ate
It
a
did,
live
yeah, it
octopus, and he did it like 4 or 5 times.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, that makes me sad.
yeah,
Even
that's
though
nuts.
it's 20 years ago, those octopus were alive. I'm like, oh, those poor octopus.
They live for ages, though, don't they, octopus? Octopi.
Octopi, yeah.
You think they'd still be alive now?
Well, not with that guy around. But yeah,
Oh,
maybe.
no. So he takes his call, which is like a cryptic call, and then he eats that weird octopus and ends up passing out. Mido takes care of him, and he ends up in her house. And well, that's weird as well, because obviously he doesn't know her, they don't know each other, and then he tries to rape her,
Yeah.
which wasn't great.
Yeah.
It's just what you do after. Like, who of us here has not eaten an octopus and then the person that saved us tried to rape?
I don't know how
Let's
you...
assume all hands are
Yeah.
in there.
Oh my god.
Yeah, for the viewers at home, all of us have done.
But what I found, I don't know, funny about this maybe is that she's literally like, I'm going into the bathroom now. There's no lock. Don't come in. Oh, you do not come in and rape me. And then he literally just does that. It's like she planted the seed in his head and was like,
And he tried to plant a seed in her.
oh,
Oh,
no.
Oh.
That was a bad
Oh my
one.
god.
That was bad.
Oh, and it's just so uncomfortable. That is
What,
another
that
red-
joke?
Yes, that joke. But I was gonna say,
Nope.
this movie, even just thinking through these scenes again, like that just makes me so uncomfortable. The fact that the way it plays out, he like runs in. She's literally sat on the toilet. He tries to rape her, and then she's like, "No, no, no, get off me!" And then he just feels so guilty and is like, "I need to go. I should like." And that's just such an uncomfortable scene.
You think back to like other bits. So the bit where he was on the rooftop and whatever you said, Sam, that the guy said, like, even though I'm a beast, don't I deserve to live?
Yeah.
And like, again, it almost seems like those bits are planted as well
Oh,
because
no.
he doesn't want to do that, but he is having this really like strong
yes.
physical.
I think you're right. Yeah, because it does come up again, that phrase, doesn't it, as we go on?
Yeah.
But I hate that because it sort of feels like they're using that as like justification for these terrible acts, which I guess is what the whole film's about by the time you get to the end.
Much like the last line, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what he put in the letter to the hypnotist. isn't it?
Yeah. And that's the reason why she
Yeah, agreed to do it.
agreed to do it. Yeah. But anyway, it's not a great start to him and Mido's relationship. She literally saved his life, and then he tried to rape her. So that's not great. But anyway.
But she seems more into that than maybe most of us.
Into
in
what?
that she wasn't just like, okay, leave now. She's like, why don't you live with me forever and become my love?
Yeah, but how much of that is hypnotism?
Yeah.
Because maybe she would have been like, no,
Yeah, good
piss off,
point.
please. And she probably wouldn't have invited him back to her house to begin with.
In the first place, yeah.
So we're off to a rocky start between Dae-Su and Mido. But together they agreed to find the prison. Is that true?
They look for the Chinese restaurants that prepared the dumplings to try and follow Sammy back to the prison, don't they?
Yes. And then they managed to find it. And here's where it takes a bit of another turn. And then Sam says one of her favourite bits, the teeth scene.
Oh, it's horrible, isn't it?
Oh, I could barely look. I
no.
barely even
So much
remember
of this
it.
film I had to watch through my elbow. It's just like, you know what's happening. You're like, I don't want to watch this. I'll just wait until it's done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awful.
that was gross.
And as it was happening, it happens again later on, the teeth scene. This is something I noticed, that the piece of music that it's playing, I didn't clock what it was at first, but then the second time I realised it's the theme from Chef's Table on Netflix. And that seems to be the teeth pulling out scene music.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
and I would say that...
I can never watch that show again now.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That pushed my enjoyability score down by at least half a point.
Really?
Because it didn't just ruin this film and this evening, but also another whole show for me. So
yeah.
Oh my god! But not dumplings though.
No.
You're still up for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In fact,
okay.
when he was having like dumplings day after day, I was like, my god, do I want a dumpling?
Yeah.
I want to be in there so much.
Exactly.
We were trying to watch a Chef's Table this week from Austin, Texas, and it started, and I was like, oh this is just, I'm not happy with this.
Oh
yeah,
my
teeth,
God.
hammer, teeth.
Oh.
And also, this film is they just push the boundaries in so much like different ways. When he was doing the teeth, why was he taped up? His face was literally taped up in such a surreal way, with, like his nose really squished. And why is that necessary?
But he was still really nice. He pulled out all the teeth, and then he made sure that those were the same blood type. Like, didn't join in the fight later, so they could give him some blood.
Oh yes, he did.
Yeah,
So
I love that,
always
but
seemed
also I
nice.
miss that as part of it. He is. That's one thing you'd say about Dae-Su.
And also, how he must have asked the blood type before or after he started.
Oh god. Oh god, no, that's just so horrible.
That's good prep work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Can just
can
go
you
for the O
imagine?
negative just in case. Like,
Yeah.
I will check the stocks might be low.
But if you asked him before, it's literally like, you are going to lose a lot of blood here. So what is your blood type? And I'll sort you out. But yeah, that hallway scene was a bit legendary. Has been taken forward in other movies.
Yeah, so really, it was the first one that's been copied, well, not copied, like emulated in loads of different shows. So Daredevil in the Netflix TV show did it. Even Guardians of the Galaxy in the third volume 3, they have their own kind of fun hallway scene.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's been really taken as like one of the best kind of fight action sequences. Of,
Do you
like,
mean
recent years.
talking of films that make you so depressed?
What, Guardians of the Galaxy?
3.
Oh, God,
the
yeah.
third
That's
one, that
sad.
is pretty sad.
Yeah.
But it's a really cool fight scene. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, it does work really well, doesn't it? Like the travelling along, like
Yeah,
progressing
it's
the fight.
really good. I mean, the choreography on that would have been nuts. Like, they planned that whole thing.
How do you even like start that?
Probably just like a pen and paper.
Yeah.
So rude.
Yeah, I did find that that's one bit where you can't really look away, whereas like the other one, like with the teeth, you can't look. It is quite. And I noticed halfway through, he gets like stabbed in the back,
Yeah.
and then he does he's still doing the rest of the hallway scene with just this knife sticking in his back.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so awful.
And I'm not a massive fan of a fight scene.
Yeah,
I think
me
they can
too.
get quite boring. I'm like, yeah, we're still hitting, punching, whatever. But that, like you say, maybe because the choreography had to be so perfectly done, you couldn't not watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
And there's just no cuts or anything. It's literally, that's one take.
Yeah.
It's just very, very well done.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So after this, then he realizes that it's Woo Jin Lee that's responsible for his incarceration for all this time. And Woo Jin Lee gives him an ultimatum, which is essentially you have 5 days to find out why I did this to you. And if you do find out, then I'm going to kill myself. And if you don't, then I'm going to kill Mido. Which is strange because at this time, I suppose he's hypnotized, so that's that. But why would he care about Mido at this stage? They've only known each other a couple
Even
of
if
days.
it's just an innocent life, though, I suppose that's still like a cause for a good person to.
Well, yeah, of course, but I mean, does that describe Dae-Su?
I think he was always a good guy he was just a kid like when he made that error, and even when you watch it back, like he just told one person something that he saw in school. Like, who didn't do that?
Oh yeah, but that's a whole separate thing, isn't it? Because he didn't actually do anything wrong. It just had
big consequences.
Yeah, it just had massive implications. So yeah, he finds out that. Wait, hang on. How do we get to that backstory? Is it just something that we see?
He realises himself, doesn't he, that he went to school with him.
Yeah.
And then you don't get like the whole thing until later when they're in the flat.
Because he sees his old school friend, doesn't he? The lady who kind of fills in a few gaps, but yeah, it is piece by piece, isn't it?
Oh, is that in the hairdressers?
Yes, the hairdresser.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, all right. So I think it's important to mention here the sex scene.
Can I just go back very slightly to the bit where we meet Woo Jin Lee? And I had no idea what time period this was set in until that point. And then he was wearing that bucket hat. He looked like the guy from, what's that video, the You Only Get What You Give video in the shopping mall.
The New Radicals.
The New Radicals.
He
looks exactly like that. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we're in 2003. Just like immediately, I remember this period.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Which is another good point, because this is a 20-year-old film right now.
Yeah.
And it's held really well, hasn't it? Because except for when they get a phone or something out.
Or wear a bucket hat.
You wouldn't know that this wasn't a film that was made last year.
No,
yeah.
it could really so easily be.
Yeah. But I wonder, is that a cultural thing? Like, if you lived in Korea and you watched this movie, would you be like, yeah, this is totally 20 years ago? But we don't really know about Korea.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, also it just doesn't rely on technology that much.
Yeah,
really,
true.
Does it?
Yeah, and I guess where it's just following one person, then it is so easy to just zone in on his world and his experience rather than what's going on around him.
Yeah.
Also, as well, we're not tradies. Like, the tradie might look at that hammer that he was using to take the teeth
That's
out,
true,
and he'd be like, that's clearly a 20-year-old
Yeah, that's
hammer.
been out of business for That's not regulation now. Is he playing that?
Yeah, this is true.
Can't pull teeth out of that these
Look
days.
at that rubber
It's not
grip.
going to pass your risk assessment, is it?
You want to use the 3310 to fill out teeth? That was the only number that I could think of.
Yeah. A Nokia.
Yeah, I know. I realise that's why. But...
Oh, I thought you meant the actual Nokia, because they will break teeth, yeah.
That would
Yeah,
break
we'll totally
teeth.
do it.
Anyway, sorry, Luce. Your favourite bit of the film?
Oh no, don't say that, Dan. Oh my god. No, maybe in every other film, but definitely not in this film. The sex scene. And so, Sam, you and I had seen it before. These, for you guys, it was the first time. And this was definitely so much worse watching the second time round. Because obviously, Mido and Dae-Su do have some sex, and it is very...
It is some sex.
You're aware at this point that it is father and daughter, and it is just so graphic.
Yeah,
well, you were,
we were,
but we weren't.
Yeah.
At that point, we don't know.
Oh, right. Yes, of course.
Exactly.
Oh, sorry.
But it is very graphic. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And all the stuff that Mido's saying, which I won't go into, but it's, well, you guys have
That's
watched
a
it at
different
home.
podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, we can make some money on that. Separately, let's do that.
Oh, God. But
That's
I think
the OnlyFans.
I think they've made this scene very memorable and quite graphic. I mean, not like visually graphic.
Yeah, so when you get your reveal later, you're like, oh.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more like, well, actually thinking about it, it's more like the noises and what she's saying. And actually, these are played back later
It's necessary
on.
for the plot.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it has to be there.
And and it is played back on a tape recorder. It's not like shown on a TV or whatever. So it is supposed to be like that, I guess. But it's a very uncomfortable scene anyway.
I would say, like, having watched it just the first time, I think it was quite an uncomfortable sex scene,
Yeah.
especially after like the raping and all of
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
stuff. You're like,
yeah.
I don't really get this
Yeah.
and this whole dynamic and her whole attitude during and everything.
Well, how much of this is like hypnotized Mido and how much is regular Mido?
Yeah, good
Because-
point.
Yeah, it is a very surreal thing to watch. But anyway, that happens. And then here is where you go on to learn more about the backstory of Woo Jin Lee and how what's happened is there was an incestual relationship with his sister, which we get to watch.
At Oldboy school.
Yeah, at the school, and he's obviously voyeuristically looking in on that. And that again, this whole movie's so uncomfortable, isn't it? Because
Yep.
that was a very difficult bit to watch again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just
incest everywhere.
yeah.
It kind of makes you feel like, how on earth did they get this film made? Like,
Yeah.
what was the pitch to like producers and stuff? So
It's based on a manga.
Is it?
Or a story, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, how they got that one?
Yeah.
Like, somebody at some point has commissioned.
it's
No,
commissioned
but
it,
so
put money
manga,
into it.
that's
yeah.
fine, isn't it? Because you just could make that, and then to make the film, all you'd have to say is it's based on a manga, and every like suit is like, we love manga, people love manga. Here's a bunch of money. Let's never find out what the film's about. Then the film's made, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
should have
but-
watched it first.
Yeah, but also what is relevant here, and Sam, you know more about this than me, is the American version because it's been remade twice, so it's not like it slipped through the
Yeah,
boardroom
Yeah,
where they
very
were like,
true.
yeah,
Yeah.
they've remade it again, but the American one is a bit more palatable.
It's the ending they've changed a lot.
Yeah.
I suppose we'll touch on that at the end when we
Okay.
go over what
Okay.
happened there.
I'm interested to watch that American one.
Yeah, me too.
I am, but I do not want to revisit this story in any way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just curious, I think.
Yeah. And then there's the Hindi version as well.
Unauthorized Hindi version.
I was on, oh, okay. But I
Yeah.
don't know if that differs in plot.
That one's definitely slipped through, hasn't it? The unauthorized version.
Yeah.
Where can you view that one? Is it just on YouTube then? Or
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
maybe some homework for us to do then?
Yeah, no, I too am an engaged member of this conversation and watching more of this terrible, terrible thing.
I think you can't, although it is based on a manga, as you say, the Korean version definitely feels like the OG, doesn't it?
Yeah.
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 Situation.
I think the pitch would go like everyone's fucking their daughter, and if they're not, then they're fucking their sister.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
Or
Like
they're
that literally is just the plot.
or they're hypnotizing someone else so that they can do incest.
Yeah.
Do incest.
To incest. I incest. Did. I didn't.
So,
Please cut that out.
That's my bad.
so Woo Jin Lee's backstory is that he essentially had the hots for his sister. They got it on, and then Dae-Su saw this happening and basically told everyone. But what's happened here is, which complicates it a little bit more, is that Woo Jin Lee's sister then has a phantom pregnancy.
Yeah.
So she wasn't actually pregnant. So what's happened is Dae-Su has spread rumours, or well, told everyone that they're. Well, did he tell?
No, he just told
No,
one
he told
friend
one
before he like, went
person.
away.
Oh, really?
And that one person then told people.
Oh,
So he wasn't even intending to spread the news. It was just told one person just on one day.
And Woo Jin Lee does kill that person, but it feels like he deserves some torture, more maybe than Dae-Su.
but you would.
Neither of them do it really.
Neither of
but
them
yeah.
do really, but if one
Yeah.
would,
Yeah,
it would
but-
be the guy who spread it round.
Well, no, because the way that like is played out in the movie, which I guess is testament to how well it's made, is that you're now saying that guy deserves some sort of punishment for telling people that he saw a guy or knows about a guy that is getting off his sister. Whereas if anyone saw a man getting off with his sister, we would be like, that's not okay.
True.
Yeah.
Or would we?
No,
Everyone.
it's Woo Jin Lee
Anyway.
that like needs to have the repercussions.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like, again, we might get onto this later, but presumably there's something in him feeling a lot of guilt and having to have that go elsewhere
Yeah.
because he doesn't want to feel that guilt. So
Yeah.
somebody else has to be to blame
Guilty, yeah.
Yeah, but then
for the
it's
whole thing.
this is the thing, it makes you question your whole life because it's consensual, both of them. Like the sister, it's not like he touched the sister and she didn't want to be touched. It's not Woo Jin Lee that needs repercussions because what did he do differently to the sister? They were both.
Yeah, they deserve equal repercussions, but she is dead.
She is dead.
She commits suicide though.
Yeah,
She wasn't
so
killed.
she did her own repercussion.
But only because she was preggers, or she thought she was preggers.
Oh yeah, good
and
point.
she was
Yeah.
worried it was all going to come out.
Yeah.
Which is why Woo Jin Lee is so cross at Dae-Su, because he's like, your rumours wouldn't have even come to anything anyway, because she wasn't actually pregnant.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was just, it could have been kept secret.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, it's fucked up, isn't it, this entire movie?
Yep.
It is, yeah.
I didn't think we'd ever be having this debate.
No, I think that's
But here we
part
are.
of what's interesting about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
That makes you talk about things that you wish you weren't.
Yeah.
So after sort of figuring out what the motive is, then we find ourselves in Woo Jin Lee's penthouse apartment.
She's really nice.
Really nice.
Yeah. That really
Yeah.
cool wardrobe he's got, which like
Yeah.
moves apart. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. It's got like a river or a stream going through the middle of it.
Yeah.
Random shower right in the middle rather than by the side.
Yeah.
That seems a bit.
I was definitely taking some notes on that bit for when this podcast blows up and we move into our own like
River apartment.
penthouse apartment. I was like, I like slightly less blood everywhere
Oh, God.
and, you know, pictures of my sister who I committed incest with. But everything else.
Yeah, the
is
design
there.
work was
Yeah,
was good,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, too many windows. You know,
Yeah.
when you've got that many windows, someone's falling out of them.
Oh, you freak
So
out so
fun.
much about that as well.
Yeah.
Like when we had that holiday
Oh, yeah.
in Swindon.
That penthouse apartment
The
in
penthouse
inverted
apartment
commas.
in Swindon.
At Airbnb.
You're funny about windows.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
basically was the
That's why she has a
gist.
Mac now.
Ah,
Dad
that's
joke.
the most dad joke. Where's that sound effect we had? Boo!
Yeah, I just didn't want our children falling out. They were
No,
petrified.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah. Makes
And
sense.
yeah, but that apartment was amazing.
His or our Swindon apartment.
His.
Okay.
Mhm.
Actually, it was fine. It was fine.
It was great.
Yeah.
So we're in the apartment, and here is where Woo Jin Lee does the big reveal. So there's that purple box.
Oh yeah, really, really well wrapped. I want to know who did that.
I feel like he didn't do that himself.
Oh, I don't know, I feel like he might have needed to.
Oh.
Yeah, it was just the
okay.
last piece of the puzzle that he wanted that personal touch to it.
And the laser pen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he really like went round the room with that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, which we all do when we get our hands on a laser, don't
Oh
we?
yeah, like you're not like just having your 2 minutes, the laser pen passing it along, are you?
I think you would have thought he would have got that all out of his system before it came to the
Yeah,
final
true.
moment when it came
Yeah.
to use it. Dae-Su's there.
Was that what you do whenever you have a presentation that requires one, though? You're like, I better get there half an hour early. Get this out of my system.
Well, I don't do presentations in the 90s anymore. But,
Do you think they hypnotised him to follow all like laser pointers perfectly?
maybe, yeah.
You will indulge any.
Yeah.
You will be a cat.
Yeah, so the purple box has in it a family album. And obviously, as we go through, he's looking through the pictures and it's got Mido as a babes. And then as she gets older, you obviously realise it's the same.
And the music on that
You
bit is
don't.
like amazing, isn't it? Just to like,
yeah.
really hit home.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's obviously the moment where we're all just regretting our life choices for watching this movie.
Yeah, mostly hating you.
Yeah, but the reason I chose it was because I wanted to know what you
hate us.
thought.
Oh, sorry.
No, I wanted you to go through that experience that I went through. That was actually horrendous, but also amazing. So at this point, you realise he's been screwing his kid. And
Oh, what a way to say that.
but here's where things take. So already we've got the most sort of twisted, shocking, incredible movie
Yeah.
in terms of twists and turns and what you weren't expecting. But again, it just carries on and on. So now he begins begging.
Yeah, the plea to not reveal to her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should probably just say that Mido has a purple box in her house.
Yeah.
That she may or may not. Well, she at the moment she's not allowed to open, but she's just waiting on Woo Jin Lee's word. So he's begging Woo Jin Lee not to reveal or not to give the word.
And then we get to the tongue scene, which is so gross. And they don't even show like it actually happening, just enough to know exactly what's there. And then his eyes, and you
Just
feel
explain
it.
what exactly is happening when you say the tongue thing.
So in order to say that he won't tell a soul about anything, he, well, not doesn't just offer, but does cut out his tongue to stop him from saying anything to anyone.
Yeah, and it like plops into the river.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like in the end, it was unnecessary, which just makes it even worse, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, but then was it? Because I thought that the first time, but the second time, I thought, well, Rujan Lee didn't tell her, so perhaps that is what it took. I mean, we don't really know at what stage he would have said, "Okay, fine."
I kind of felt like he was so impulsive with everything that he did. I wanted to be like, can you just take a beat and think for a second? He's on his knees, and he's like screaming in his face, then he's
like
chopping his tongue out, he's
Yeah.
acting like a dog, and I was like, just hold on, just like for 1 second, go,
Gauge
what
the
do I
room.
need to do here?
Yeah.
Get some feedback from the other person.
Exactly. Just ask the question, like, would it help if I cut my tongue out?
Yeah.
Would this be a thing
Yeah.
that would stop that from happening? And then proceed.
Oh,
But it's a
yeah.
close-up shot, isn't it? And you can
Oh.
see his hand on the scissors next
Oh,
to his
yeah.
mouth, and then it cuts away as he's doing it. But it's just enough just to really screw your face up. And
I think
wanna
not
watch the
seeing it
film.
actually makes it worse than if you
Yeah.
had seen it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't know.
I think because you imagine worse than probably what it actually
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, good point.
And they probably wouldn't be able to show anything
Yeah.
as bad as you're kind of
Yeah.
imagining.
Yeah,
That's a good
'cause
point.
Like
he'd
it
have
would
to cut
look
his tongue
fake.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But at this point, Woo Jin Lee decides, well, you've got him on the phone to the guy that's with Mido and says, take the box away, don't let her open it, which you think he's doing him like a favour and a bit of a mercy, but what actually happens is it's just continuing the whole dilemma and the whole trauma for him, really. Like if he'd have told Mido, that presumably would have been, or you would hope, would have been the end of it for everything. But as we find out in a bit, that isn't really what happens. So he doesn't tell Mido, but once Woo Jin Lee gets into the lift, and then we see him shoot himself.
Which is true to his word. If you find out why we did this,
Yeah.
I'll kill myself. So he's
point.
an honest and respectable person. Yeah, incestuous kidnapper.
I don't think you can use the word respectable. Honest, I'll give you for that specific one little
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I was going to say. Like maybe honourable.
Honourable, yeah.
Is that the right word?
No.
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 Fucked his sister, didn't he? But
Yeah. And then planned this entire plot,
yeah,
which is absolutely totally
Diligent.
effective.
Effective, yeah.
So from this point, it takes another really weird turn. Probably like the most weird turn of all. Where
Audible sigh.
Yes, where we see Dae-Su back with the hypnotist, trying to get her to agree to make him forget that Mido is his kid, so they can carry on being together. And Mido's none the wiser. She still thinks they're in love, and that's that.
Yeah, she didn't open the box, so she's ignorant to the whole thing.
Yeah, which is just...
It's a weird choice.
It is, but I think it adds more depth to the movie. Because as well as... So there's this really uncomfortable feeling of like everything he's done up to this point and all the terrible that he's suddenly realised, I've done this such a terrible thing, but as well as having that added to his life, if he's to leave Mido, he's also lost... I don't know how long we've been so far. I don't know how long he's with Mido up to this point.
It was 5 days, wasn't it? He had 5 days to
days.
figure out who it was.
Maybe it's testament to how good the hypnotism is.
I think he was hypnotised to fall in love.
And also, like, I don't know if Darren Brown might hear this and then be like, how dare you?
Hi, Darren.
If you're there, give us a shout out when you're next in a box or something. But
That's David Blaine.
damn it. Can you really hypnotize people that significantly?
It's like a balance, isn't it, between like, this is your choices. You either accept the fact that you're her dad. Oh God, why am I even saying these words? Accept the fact that you're her dad and then lose that relationship you've had, or carry on as you were. Forget about it. And you know you can actually forget about it because it's happened before. You've been hypnotized to that degree that you wouldn't even know. More thoughts?
Yeah, no, it would be nice to have some more thoughts about a different subject. It's really hard because you can see a bunch of reasons why actually it would even be better for her. Like, what are his options there? He either goes back to her, they have a relationship, and he knows everything that he knows, or he goes and he knows that she has lost her dad, because that was him, her mum, because she died, and her love, the love of her life, because that was what was implanted in her brain. So you can see how he would be doing it from her side. I guess I don't really get the impression that he is a selfless man or even a man that thinks of other people. Like, I got the impression he was doing that for himself because that was kind of the best thing for him.
And it's cowardice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I can go back to not acknowledging this.
Yeah.
And just live an easy life where I've got a wife or girlfriend, whatever, and she's great.
And that's actually very reflective, I think, of his personality throughout.
I think when he was stopping her opening the purple box, that was all for her.
Yeah.
After that, it does seem like it's for him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The crazy decision to make, I think. Or have to make. Either way, it's just hard for him.
For him.
Yeah.
That's the key bit, isn't it? Because I think that it's really hard to say that's a hard decision to make because it's not. Like, you just have
objectively,
to...
you don't carry on a relationship
with your daughter
that you know about.
Yeah.
You just don't do that, but he struggles with it and obviously does decide to do that.
And this is the difference to the American version, which I guess it's no surprise that they went for a bit more tamer route in the end, but I think the plot is fairly similar as it goes along. But once he finds out about their relationship, that he is their father and daughter, he chooses to not see her ever again and then just cut all ties. So he carries on with the knowledge, but they just don't see each other ever again, which does probably seem like the most sensible choice.
Yeah, I think that's more palatable.
Yeah.
But also realistic, I think. It's not just nicer for the more American audience.
Yeah, definitely more realistic, yeah. But also that you're left with this decision. This was, when I first watched it, this was what I kept thinking back over, like, oh, why has he made that decision? Who would ever do that? So in a way, it sort of makes for a better movie because that's what's stuck in my mind and that's what's making me think so much about it.
It's a good piece of evidence for having an age-appropriate relationship.
No, you are right, aren't you? I mean, if you pick someone as a partner who's roughly your same age, then you don't fall into this trouble.
The chance of that being your secret daughter son is very minimal.
Yeah, but we do have the brother-sister situation.
Oh, good point.
True.
Yeah.
Oh.
The mismatched age aunt-uncle situation.
Oh, God.
Oh, is the general...
consensus.
Yep, the general takeaway from this whole thing to do like a DNA test.
Just a quick ancestry search. Like,
get the photo albums out
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
you have sex.
Oh, God, yeah.
Like, incorporate
just
that.
a quick, like, if we were going through our grandparents, are they different people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Maybe that's what now second base should be.
yeah. This is the woman I call Nan. What do you call
Oh.
her?
Second base is the family tree. Then we can go to third base.
Mutual Facebook friends. Hello. You're friends with my nan. What's my nan? Oh, God.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's like a new foreplay, but an essential foreplay.
But also what I picked up at the end, and I don't know if you guys did as well, is that the hypnotist says to him, it may or may not work, or it may mess up some of your memories. And then we see like him going through the process of being hypnotized, and then at the end he goes over to Mido and hugs her, and he's like smiling, and then he pulls this weird like grimacy face as if like, is he thinking, shit, it hasn't worked, this is Mido.
Why can't they do it indoors even though it was snowing?
I know. It was so cold.
Yeah.
It looked so cold.
Yeah. They must have carried 2 chairs out there as well.
Yeah.
There's 2 chairs.
And like then the other one, the lady just left. Like she could have taken the chair with her.
Yeah, he just had to carry both of those back.
Yeah, but like
I don't know. Do they stack? I don't know.
he employed her. Like, if you're employed to do a job, you go and do the job. You don't worry about who's bringing the chairs, do you? She's just like, all right, see ya.
Well, maybe
You
she
deal
bought
with
both
those.
chairs though. Maybe that was part of the employment.
What? She bought the chairs.
Yeah, like maybe he was like, okay. No,
Well, then
boy,
maybe
you do
he
this,
walked
please
away.
bring
Yeah,
the
maybe he
chairs.
paid a lot of money. He's like, well, if I'm paying that, I want to keep the chairs.
Yeah.
Oh right.
Maybe
Yeah.
she knew it didn't work, and that's why she scarpered. She was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
shit, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go right
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah.
Keep the chairs. Oh, and then that makes you think. Sorry, that was a weird noise, but that makes you think. Like, the whole point of any of these things is that the person doesn't know. What in our lives have we been hypnotized to do or not to do, or to forget that we have done
Yeah.
or not
Yeah.
done?
Or to fall in love with.
Yeah, like, is any of this real?
Yeah. Is lads actually genuine love, or are we just hypnotized?
Don't even question it.
The last 20 years, been a lie.
Yeah. I guess what I would say about that is no one cared enough about our 17-year-old selves to hypnotise all four of us.
That's very true.
Like,
I don't know anyone with like that much time or logistical.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. We haven't got
prowess.
anyone got beef with anyone else? Did you spread any rumours 20 years ago?
Probably, to be fair. But
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
true.
for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm
There was
sorry.
this guy that I didn't tell her. So, as part of this podcast, we have decided to do a scoring system for each of the films that we discuss. To make it a bit different, we've decided to go for 3 categories which we think sum up most of the films we are discussing, and that is enjoyability, shareability, and masterpiece ability. So each
And
of
we'll also send our rankings out as we carry on with the films, and we'd love to hear yours as well.
Yep, perfect. So each lad will score those 3 categories out of 5. So 3 categories, 4 lads means a total score out of 60. So enjoyability out of 5. How much did we enjoy this film? Luce, do you want to go first?
I gave it a 3.
Okay, Dan.
I gave it a 3.
Oh, I also gave it a 3. Abby, did you give it a 3?
Yeah, I gave it a 3, but then I took away half for it being terrible and the incest and petrifying, and so it got to 0.5.
Okay.
Okay, so a total score of 9.5 for enjoyability, which seems pretty. It was an enjoyable film in terms of being engaging and really different. But did I like watching the scenes? No, I did not.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Absolutely no.
no, you did not enjoy it. Is that what you're saying?
I enjoyed it 60% of the time.
Really?
So about a 3 out of 5.
Oh my god.
I would like you to watch again and literally stopwatch for me the bits that you enjoyed, and I want to know if it's 60%.
Okay, I will not do that.
Well, now you've said it like that. Thing is, there are bits that actively bring down the enjoyability rating, isn't it? Like, well, I don't want to relist them, but the uncomfortable moments are very uncomfortable. But as an experience, I do think it's worth a watch, and I did enjoy it for that. I did.
Yeah, like a scary movie it's
Yeah.
tense and it makes you feel like different things to watching a comedy, but it's still enjoyable because sometimes you want to feel like different emotions watching a film.
Yeah.
So the next category is shareability. So how much would you choose to share this film with other people? Dan.
I gave it a 5.
Okay. Luce.
I gave it a 5.
I also gave it a 5. Abby, did you give it a 5?
I don't understand who, like, which fucked up people you people are sharing this with.
You guys.
shared it with each other, so that kind of ticks that off. I gave it 3, and even as I'm thinking about it, having revisited today, it seems high, but I'll go with that. 3.
But I mean, in terms of like, it just is an entirely unique film, and it is very well done.
So it's like getting punched in the crotch, though, isn't it? It's an entirely unique thing. But I wouldn't be like, you want to give this a go?
Okay, yeah, punch in the crotch. That's a different analogy, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it like you were saying, it makes you question different things and experience different feelings, and
I think it's a weird one because I want lots of people to watch it, but I don't want to be the person to tell them to watch it. But if somebody said to me, I want to watch a really trippy, incestual Korean film, I would recommend this one, I think, above all others.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And you've seen a lot.
It's a tough category.
That's your genre.
Yeah. You expect a lot of these in the podcast.
Yeah, because I guess that's the downside of sharing it, is it reflects on you a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Like, I really enjoyed this,
Sure
and
does.
I want you to watch it. And you think, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But-
Or like, you can imagine like your work friend going home watching it and being like, "Oh my god, I was
Yeah.
recommended this film by
I think
Sam
they
at
enjoyed
work."
this, yeah.
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 You would recommend this as like the 10th film you recommend, just so you can kind of do some groundwork
Yeah.
normal.
Yeah.
But here's a really good film.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. The 10th film, Luce, not literally the first. I know, what should we do as our first? Really set out our stall, show people who we are, what we're like.
Oh no!
This
well,
is the film.
the thing is, it's the lads film thing, and you guys, you know, my favourite films are adorable, wholesome stuff.
Mm.
However, this movie, it is one of the best ones for a discussion. There
Yeah.
is so
Yeah,
much to
there's
talk
so
about.
much.
And as soon as we were like, you think of any films that you want to talk about on a podcast, this is definitely up there.
Yeah, no, I
So-
do get it.
But that's testament to the film, isn't it? And that's why I feel it would be better than the American version. Not that I've seen the American version, but those decisions that the filmmakers have made to throw all these twists and turns in do resonate, and they do stick with you, and it is worth talking about. It makes you talk about it more. And
Yeah.
that was the bit at the end. I remember saying to my mum, "Who would make that decision? Who would do that?" Which basically spoiled the end for her.
Did
but
she watch
still.
it?
No, but she will.
you
I'm sure
recommended
she
it?
will. I did recommend.
Yeah. And the third category is masterpiece ability. So, literally, how much of a masterpiece in cinema do you think this is? Abby,
I gave this a 5.
Dan,
Also a 5.
also a 5 from me.
What?
Unanimous decision that this is a masterpiece,
Oh yeah.
which I think is fair, isn't it?
Mm.
This was such a good film that you couldn't not watch. The next day, you're just thinking about it all day.
Yeah.
Brilliant film.
I didn't want to look at my phone during it. I was
Yeah.
gripped literally the entire time.
So out of 60, this we have scored Oldboy 47.5,
Oh, that's
which is
good.
a pretty solid score for our
Yeah.
first review. Is it going to be beaten?
I'd imagine so.
We'll never know.
That remains to be seen.
We have got some
that was
good
the end.
films coming up, so
Like Abby said, let us know how that compares to your scores.
Yeah, and look out for Kung Fu Panda coming. in like
Coming soon.
2 weeks.
If you don't like incest, you might like Kung Fu Panda.
There's a little bit less.
Thanks for coming along to our very first Lads Film Club and joining us while we discussed Oldboy.
we'd love to know what you thought about it too. Were you as gripped as we were? Let us know on our Twitter or Insta. You can find the details in the description of the podcast.
Join us next week, which is my choice, and I'm going for Guy Ritchie's London crime comedy Snatch. It features an amazing ensemble cast with interweaving stories and is such an entertaining film.
That is a really good choice, and I'm really excited to watch it again, actually. So if you enjoyed listening to our podcast, please leave us a rating and a review.
And don't forget, share with your own lads.
Or share it with anyone, really. We're not picky.
Maybe not your dad or your daughter, though. Not for Oldboy, anyway.
So grab your popcorn.
Round up your lads.
Get watching.
And join us next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Mum, what does old boy?
Don't ask. Don't ask. Yeah.
Forget about it. Never watch it.